Okay, gorgeous souls. So, we're gonna do a little experiment. Eh? My daughter's looking at me. She's like, "Yes, let's do a little experiment, mommy." So, for the longest time, I've like envisioned like this modern version of the church. And I think a couple of years ago, I even hosted a Monday service because at that time it didn't feel appropriate to host them at Sundays. But now I keep hearing organize these Sunday services. I am not quite sure yet if I should like really literally make it a Sunday service or that they really want to invite me to do these sort of more like preaching kind of podcast where I just tune into the collective energy and to make this podcast maybe like almost like an online modern version of the church, right? Because I really believe that we currently live in a world where so much is changing. We're so evolving. We're so growing as human beings, and it puts us sometimes in a sort of space that we don't know where we're currently at, right? Because it's almost like one of my clients described it to me like nobody's land. Like that you just have to figure out what is my place in this world. I'm no longer part of the old collective. And I feel like I'm part of the new collective, but what is the new collective, right? And I feel like on a very deep and spiritual level, we all feel that we are already part of that new paradigm and that we can hear our minds. Like you can hear that the voices of your mind, they're not as strong as they used to be. So your mind is still telling you those stories, maybe about money or about your work or whatever, but you sort of feel like, oh my God, I'm not identifying with it anymore at the same level that I'm used to. And that's a weird place to be at because you still hear the thoughts, you don't identify with them anymore. So you're going through this beautiful, beautiful transformation state. And I don't know. These are the words that just came to me today to share this with you, to really embrace the place where you are currently at and to really, really trust the way of the heart. I really love that title. It's from a book that I'm reading, which is a channeled book by Joshua Ben Joseph, which is Jesus' name. And I just love his teaching so much because he describes his upbringing, like how he actually was spiritually, his spiritual education to become who he became, right? He wasn't born as an enlightened soul. I'm not even sure if he got enlightened at all. I mean, there's this story about him, like the I believe the evening before he was crucified, that he had this rage in the temple. And some people say it's true, some people say it's not true. I really love like diving into all those sort of sources. There are so many new sources coming out that are speaking about it and who are actually doing some more in-depth study about okay, what stories are actually true and what are just like major interpretations. So, but like there is a story about Jesus the night before he got crucified that he had this rampage in the temple. And I don't even care if it's true or it's not true, but let's just for the sake of it, just like let's for the sake of it accept that it's true that he had that he had that fit, like he had that anger burst and he was like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. It's such a reflection. Like what I love about the way of the heart, what I love about his teachings is that he shows us that this is something you have to practice, right? He explains that the assignments that he got when he had to go to the desert for 40 days, that he didn't like those assignments either. He really, really had to go through them, right? And I really believe that we collectively are at a space right now that we don't have to suffer any longer. So I think this is like really something of the old paradigm that in order to grow, we have to suffer. And I really feel like that's an old story. If I look at this new generation, if I look at this new energy, I just feel a lightness. I feel enlightening around that energy. And it's so hard for me to grasp it in words what I actually see, but I see such an enlightened world and things really, really changing and really taking the world to a next level. And I'm talking about those like new mental health systems, school systems. It's been a part of my dream for so long, and for a while I felt sort of frustrated because I didn't really move on it. But now I really understand that everything has its and hers and his divine timing, right? So like these visions I have about a new school system, I really believe that I will get specific about that by the time my daughter is going to school. I need some urgency, right? So um, I really believe that every time comes in a divine timing, and we must allow ourselves to surrender in that divine timing. And meanwhile, just really enjoy our place here at Earth. So I just really want you to tap into your like your belly space and just really feel like, okay, what excites me? What freaking excites me in this world? For me personally, there's nothing more that excites me than working with my one-on-one clients. Like whenever I get their voice memos in, I'm like jumping up and down from excitement because we get to work at such a soul aligned level, right? And it's such a different way of working. It's not like, okay, I'm here to help you, or I'm here to fix you, or I'm here to get you somewhere. No, like how I explain it to one of my newest one on one clients, she's really amazing as well, is like we must look at our combination of energy as like the most fruitious nest that you can imagine, right? It's just like we all have this beautiful garden, and all these seeds are actually in our gardens, in our yard, and some of them we planted them deliberately, and some just come with the wind and they have nested in the ground. And that is the fun and exciting part of it. It's like not even our job to decide on which seed we're going to grow. No, it's just our job to tune in regularly. And that's what I do in my one on ones. Like, I tune in regularly with these amazing women to look at their gardens and to see, okay, what kind of crops are growing right now, right? What kind of plants are unfolding? Which plant do we want to nurture at this point? And it becomes such a fun experiment of life. It becomes such a fun experience to let this garden grow in the most magnificent way. Because with our mind, we can sort of think, oh, I want roses in my garden, or I want tulips in my garden, or I want vegetables in my garden. But what if the wind like brought you this amazing plant, exotic plant, this seed, and it's already in your ground, and you are not aware of it, right? Because your focus is on the other things that you with your mind have thought about. But there are so many beautiful seeds that want to ungrow from your garden. And I just really want to invite you to pay loving attention to it. To to look at it and be like, oh my God, I have these amazing, amazing, amazing opportunities right here in my garden. So we came back from holiday, and I totally forgot that I had a cucumber plant in my garden. So I came home and I'm like looking at that cucumber plant, and there are like 4 delicious cucumbers like waiting for me, right? That is the gift of like sometimes stepping away from your garden, right? You tend to forget, and then you can come back and you're like, oh my God, I totally forgot. And they were so delicious. I have never tasted such sweet cucumbers. I'm not pronouncing it right, but you get the point. So I'm gonna let this idea unfold. about this Sophie's Church, right? About the Sunday services. And I'm gonna let it evolve and see if it's gonna be like a literal Sunday service with music and rose messages and all that kind of stuff, or if it's gonna be more of these kind of episodes. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm excited to let it unfold. I'm excited to turn on my microphone, not knowing what I'm gonna say, not knowing what I'm gonna preach, just recording on and let the Divine Spirit talk through me. That's what I love. That's how I'm at my best, right? That's why I love working with my one on one clients. And that's why I work with these voice memos. So in the past, I used to work with these Zoom calls, right? But what happened when I did these Zoom calls is that I, like Sophie, like the smaller version of me, which is not to talk negative about that version of me because she's amazing as well. But really, when I work, I show up as Rose, right? As this kind of person. And I noticed that in Zoom calls, it's harder for me to become her. So to become her, to let them speak through me. I get distracted by my own face. I get distracted by the other people's um, faces. So whenever I did do those Zoom calls at the end, I would always close my eyes to let Spirit talk through me, and then it would work, right? And I was just like, oh my God, why not just do these voice memos, right? Because when I do these voice memos, I am pure. I can let Spirit talk through me. And that is when the magic happens. Because when I speak to my women on this level, like I'm speaking to all of you right now, something happens. You get activated in that part of your energy, right? So I think in the old paradigm, we tend to really address the the lower frequency, the frequency of, okay, what is supposed to be fixed, what is not, what is wrong with me, why aren't things going the way they should be going. But in this new paradigm, we let go of all that, and we just see everything as is. And in that space, really, really magnificent energy and ideas and opportunities can arise. So let this beautiful recording be an invitation for you to nurture your garden, to nurture your garden, to maybe put a fence around it for a while if you feel like certain people are not like respecting your garden. Just just keep them at a distance for a while until you feel confident enough about your garden that everyone is welcome in. Allow yourself to define space, define time, define steps. Everything will come to you in the divine timing. And I can guarantee you this. If there's one thing you desire and you have been feeling frustrated about it not showing up in your life yet, that's a good thing. Because in my experience, every time I encountered those situations, oh my God, whenever it did show up, and it always showed up, sometimes a little longer than I anticipated it, but it was always in the divine timing. Always. So trust it. And don't blame yourself for being impatient. That's normal. But it's still part of the old paradigm. So you are invited to let go of that, to trust, to see, to move forward, and to surround yourself with the energies that really, really keep you in this energy. Okay? I wish you the most amazing day, night, evening, whatever. If you want to continue on a more deeper soul journey with me, you are most invited to my Wealth Frequency Mentorship Program or to work with me one on one. I channel my prices based on your energy. So you can always send me a message and just be like, okay, hey, Soph, I'm like curious about what do you feel and what could we do? And then I will get back to you. And the Wealth Frequency Mentorship Program is also a very beautiful starting point if you feel like the one-on-one is maybe one step too quick. So I hope this beautiful podcast is an invitation for you to really step into that new paradigm, to trust that you are at the right path and that you are feeling it all correctly. You are doing amazing. Really divine. Ciao.